Why is this year so crucial, and why is this second half of the year so crucial? I think all you have to do is turn on the television or walk down the news aisle at your local store to know there's a lot of challenges that we're facing right now here in the United States of America. As I've been traveling, Sean Carney and I have talked about this, some of our other 40 Days for Life team members, as we've been meeting people as we traveled all across the United States, I've been hearing more and more people expressing to me concern about the direction that America is heading. They express frustrations about the increasing hostility towards faith and our values and the hostility towards human life. They express to me sometimes that they feel despair about the moral breakdown and the depravity going on around us. I've had people say to me, and maybe you felt this way at times, they've said they're anxious, wondering about what kind of America are we going to hand on to future generations, or will we even have an America to hand on to our children and grandchildren? Have you felt this has been weighing on my heart? I spent a lot of time reading and praying and researching what caused other great civilizations or great nations throughout history to decline, and ultimately what led to their destruction. When you look at all the civilizations that are now on the ash heap of history that were once great, what were the factors that led to their demise? One of the first documents I found on this was a prediction by the German historian and philosopher Oswald Spengler. It was nearly 100 years ago he wrote the work Decline of the West, where he predicted many of the things that we're seeing going on around us right now. Fast forward to 1994, and Jim Nelson Black wrote a very important work called When Nations Die. And then other historians have looked at all these same kinds of questions to find out what are the indicators that show that a civilization is headed the wrong direction. So if you identify those factors, you can try to turn them around before it's too late. And all these historians came up with different lists of 10 or 14 different factors, but essentially they were grouped into 3 different categories: the social factors, the cultural factors, but the ones that were the strongest indicators or the most likely to lead to the decline or demise of a civilization were, no surprise, the moral factors. And there were 4 of them. These are the 4 deadly factors that, if identified and not addressed, will lead over and over again to the demise of a civilization or a great nation. We must be aware of these things. And here's what those 4 factors are. Number 1, the decrease in religious beliefs and practices. Don't we see across all denominations declines in our church attendance? And even those who are attending church don't look that much different in their behavior from those who don't go to church. The second factor, the second moral factor, is increased immorality, and identified by these historians as lust, lewd entertainment, sexual chaos, gender confusion. This was another factor that led to some civilizations heading in the wrong direction and ultimately to their demise. The third factor is the breakdown of the traditional family. And don't we see more single-parent homes, more cohabitation, more broken marriages? And haven't we seen just in this last year the redefinition and the attempts to completely pervert the meaning of marriage and family? And we saw the Supreme Court impose this on all 50 states through their decision last June. But the fourth factor is the one that brings all of us together tonight on this webinar. The fourth of the moral factors that is an indicator, a nail in the coffin, if you will, of a civilization, unless addressed, is the devaluing of human life. And here in America, since Roe versus Wade, we've seen more than 57 million lives lost to abortion. Every year, another 1.1 million children lose their lives. 1 million women are wounded, some physically and many more emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically. At the forefront of this is the largest abortion chain here in the United States, Planned Parenthood, that last year committed 323,999 abortions while taking in more than $500 million of their billion-dollar budget, $553 million of funding from your taxpayer dollars.